Okay, good evening, everybody. So I am super, super, super excited for this Zoom tonight. I will be kind of checking through the chat as we go. Yeah, that song was pretty good. Just so that way, if you guys have questions, some of this I will tell you is going to be a little bit basic. Some of it is going to be great reminders if you've been in for the business. And some of this, I just hope that you learn something as far as host to post, organization, all that kind of good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself really quickly for those of you that don't know me. My name is Erin Tweed. I have been doing this business for 8 years, and it's like really just crazy to think that like I've been doing this longer than I was working full time as a nurse. And so I went to school, I did all the things. I became a floor nurse and worked in orthopedics, fell in love actually with joint replacements, and I never thought I would. But that led me to a position where I was working as a nurse navigator for our joint replacement patients. But what came with that is most nurses, you probably know, work 3 12-hour shifts. For me, I was salary, and so I was working 50 to 60 hours a week. I was going to my job really early in the morning because most of my patients were rolling back to the OR at 6 a.m. And so if you work full time, I'm going to totally relate to some of these things. Now, obviously, host to post is newer in that. But as far as organization and consistency, that part has stayed the same. Okay, and so I want you guys to know that whether you're working full time, whether you do this at home, whether you have kids at home full time, or you're managing the chaos and crazy of mom life, whatever your story is, you can work this business. And so, long story short, I jumped in by coming across a post about hair, skin, and nails. And I thought, you know what? Why not try the business and make money doing it? We were in a position where we needed extra income. Who's going to say no to that? But kids daycare costs a lot more than you anticipate. There's a lot of fees every year and all the things. And so that was almost more than our mortgage. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. Like I wanted this child, but now like it's costing more, put him in daycare, and I'm struggling because I'm missing more time away from him. And it was just the perfect storm that allowed me to come into contact with this business. So jumped in, here we are 8 years later. We've been through a lot of life. And so if you've followed us, you know our story. But we've been through infertility, miscarriages. We ended up being able to do IVF through this business. And so my daughter that we had through IVF is now 4.5. She's about to be 5. And then God had a sense of humor. When she was 7 months old, I got pregnant on my own. And then my youngest was born with a cleft lip and cleft palate. But because of this business, I was able to have the freedom to, take him to doctor's appointments and be there for surgeries and pay for all the things. And I will tell you, surgeries are not cheap. And so, it's been a huge blessing. And so now we live in our dream house, and I absolutely love it. But the one thing that I want to go back to again is I started this business when my schedule looked a lot different. I feel like it's crazier and more chaotic now. Okay. Three kids, a lot more activities, social media's changed, all of the things. And if you know me, I am one of the most, I do not, I will say I'm really great at planning and preparing and having a list and task list. That's how I thrive and live. And so I just really love organization and consistency. It's very hard for me to get in a rhythm of change. So a lot of times if there's new ideas and different things, it takes me a little bit of time to implement that just because I'm a creature of habit. And I just really love routine and consistency. And so I will tell you some of this stuff, obviously you're going to have to adapt. So if you've been in the business for a little bit and maybe you're like, I've seen them do some host to post pushes and different things, and I don't know if I want to do that. I'm just going to encourage you to put yourself out there and try something new for next month. I know there's going to be a few of those coming back. But first and foremost, going back, I'm going to go ahead and break down what is host to post and just some of those basics, and then talk to you guys about organization and consistency on how you can do that, but also other aspects of your business. So again, if you have questions, put them in the chat. So host to post, I really want you to think about it like this: it is just a massive network growing ability. Okay. If you are going out and you're talking to everybody under the sun, like the way I like to think about it is if you're going to PTA meeting and you're bringing one of your products and so all these people start asking about it, that's an in-person way to kind of do host posts, but host posts online is so simple because it takes a few minutes to send out some messages, asking people to simply put up a post for you. Most of our teams have a giveaway that you can get them entered into for a chance in return of a post. And so I love it just because it's expanding your network. So if your brand's making new, this is a great way that you can not only interact with, those potential people. Maybe you have those friends and family that you're nervous to be like, hey, will you be one of my first couple customers? Hey, will you support me in my business by simply putting up a post for me? I'm not asking you to purchase anything. I'm not asking you to do anything like that, but I would just love it if you could support me in that way. And I guarantee you people will say yes. Because again, too, for most of you, drop a 1 in the chat if you started Facebook with like less than 300 friends, or maybe Instagram with like, I don't even know what's 100 to 150 followers. Okay. That was me. And so most people, if they're joining this business, unless they've been savvy with social media for a minute, they're going to have around that 300 to 500 friend group. Okay. Facebook will allow you to max out at 5,000. So why are we not expanding our network and trying to max out that number? Now, this is a great tool that you can utilize to add to your network and have more people seeing your things. If you're going out, and I always give this example, but if you're going out and you're going fishing, believe me, like we just got back from a camping trip. And so my husband and, son, they're bringing their fishing poles and they're getting all these things. But if they're going to a pond that has like 10 fish, the chances of them actually getting something are slim to none, right? But if they're going to a bigger lake where they know, hey, they stockpile this lake, they've got a bunch of bass in there and they've got all these things, and there's, close to 5,000 fish in this pond, they're going to have better odds of catching the fish, right? And so I want you to know that host post is going to take time and effort. It is going to take consistency. You will probably have some posts that do not get any comments. Okay. It happens to all of us. I'm just going to tell you that that's what it is. But simply, I would encourage you to put up some type of giveaway post or interaction post and just have people interact. If you go to my page right now, there's actually one pinned at the top where it asks, it says, I actually changed the statistic because I Googled it and there's a lot of people, but the average age of a mother right now, I think, is 30. And so what was your age? Or the other one that got a lot of great interaction, you can scroll down a little bit, was ranch goes on everything except you can't say salad. Okay. People want to just plug in silly stuff, or sometimes they have opinions on things. And so those kind of things are great. But now that those have given time, and I will tell you that I've posted things and they've not gotten interaction. So if I see that not really taking off, I take it down for a couple hours and then I go and try it again. Because part of it is just figuring out your network and what time is great for your feed. Okay. Some people's feeds will blow up really early. Some people like to post late at night. Some people have really great interaction. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I've seen this person post it and like, it's not getting anything for me, but I just have to figure out what it is for my network that it works. And so I will tell you, it's going to take that time. So you can take down that post, put it up a couple hours later, try it a different day. A lot of times that's the piece that people get discouraged by, is they're saying, well, now I don't have anybody to message. So try one of those posts, put that up there, and then you're going to go to every single person and message them and ask them, hey, would you be willing to put up a post for me in exchange for an entry into my giveaway? And then they're putting up something. Now, typically, I would stick with products that can branch off into other things. Okay. So if you're doing like a gummy post, or you're talking about ThermoFight X, or some type of, I typically think like weight loss and different things, but you can obviously I've done like hair, skin, and nails, where you can offer multiple products to people and really collaborate different things. So it's not just, oh, we can only sell them on gummies. Like, you have the opportunity, if you're kind of being not, I don't want to say generic, but, offering 1 or 2 products to those people gives you better odds as well. So you're going to be messaging people. The next part with that is going to be to keep it organized. Okay. So I want you to figure out what the method to your madness is. Okay. So this is how it works for me. Okay. I am one that I do not like extra photos in my albums. I will go through and like, I don't keep like the 30,000 pictures that I've taken. I'll go and I'll pick this one and then I delete. I get rid of images. So for me, this is what works. If somebody posts on their wall for me, I get a screenshot. And then every single night I have a list in my notebook and I go and I write those down based on the screenshot because I know mentally I have to delete that. Okay. This is what works for my brain. It's not very fancy organization, but I just know I'm not going to be able to, that way I can keep track of who's posted for me. I can go back to those comments and look at interact. And then at that time, when I'm putting them on my pen and paper list, I'm going back and I'm entering into our Excel spreadsheet. Okay. That's what works for me. Some people like to just keep one list and then they'll highlight once they posted. You can do that. I just physically like to track who's actually posted. And that way in my brain, that works for me because again, I'm psycho and I don't like to keep the extra pictures. Okay. So just figure out what the method to your madness is, what's going to work best for you. Okay. You're going to have to do that. You want to keep it, organized in that way of just what's going to be best for you, because what works for me may not work for you, or there may be a spin on something that will work better for you. And that's totally fine. Cause I've printed off the sheets and I've done the different things, but I always revert back to this way just because my brain does not like notifications. And so that's just easier for me to keep track of. So again, every single night I'm kind of going back through some of those comments and interacting. But the other thing that I want to say is a lot of times it's going to take messaging quite a few people. Okay. So set the goal for yourself on how many you want to have posted every single day. I think if you can focus on getting 5 to 10, that's a great number up every single day. And the thing is, it's not just 5 to 10 that you're messaging. Okay. I want to make that very clear because a lot of times people come to me and say, well, I've sent out all these messages for host posts, but if they're not up, that doesn't mean that you have people actually posting for you. And so of course you're not going to see the fruits of that labor, right? You're not going to see it until you actually have people posting for you. A lot of times you want to make sure that you're following up with people and just saying, hey, did you get a chance to post this? I'm just confirming some entries. There are some different scripts and stuff like that you can use. A lot of times I'll voice message and be like, hey girl, I know the evenings can be crazy. I'm going through confirming entries. Did this work for you? Did you get it up? And then kind of the same thing, even with those people that have said that they're going to post for me, I'm following up just like I would with a potential customer or, whatever, because people get busy in different things. And again, when I'm keeping track of that notebook list right here, that allows me on Fridays, or like if I choose a certain day of the week where I'm going and I'm doing follow-ups, now I can go back to those posts in addition to, I've gone through some of my like post to post or my potential customers and distributors. I feel like, okay, I've sent those follow-up messages. Now I want to go back and follow up on those host to posts, people that have actually posted for me, go and make sure I didn't look any comments. Because for me, I know that I've turned on notifications for host posts and Facebook still isn't notifying me. So it's just, sometimes it wants to work in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. And so I like to go and make sure that I haven't missed anything. I like to go back and make sure that I've commented something back and just said, like 2 spots left to create some urgency. If it's been a couple days, do something like that. Cause again, it pops it back into that person's news feed. But again, it's going to come down, it's really a numbers game, with just sending out a ton of messages and interacting. And again, figure out what time of day works best for your post. And if something doesn't work, don't just say it doesn't work, because that's what I did for a long time. It's just going to be trial and error to figure out what posts work best when, or when do you get the most engagement and interaction. Sometimes it's just figuring that out. Like I said, for a little bit, and I was telling Claire and some of the other leaders for a while, I feel like I had a big like shadow ban on my account because Facebook blocked one of my reels for a minute and then they took it off. But I've had problems with my like reels and stories and different things. But within the last 2 weeks, all of a sudden it's lifted and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm getting so much more interaction. So that's also, I'm using that to my benefit and posting more. And I might even drip some posts and put them up for a couple hours and then take them down, like get some interaction, take them down after a little bit. But now I've got another list of people that I can be messaging. So you can be strategic on different things, whatever's going on with your account and different things of that nature. The more people that you have posting, that's more potentials, right? So you want to make sure that you're going after how many people you're actually getting posting, not just how many people you're messaging. Keep posting the interaction ones. Like I said, switching up the times. Organization, you're going to figure that out, what works best for you. And then consistency is going to be key. So not only do I want to have those giveaway posts or different interaction things going, but I also want to be really strategic. Like if I know something, one of those posts has blown up and I've had a lot of people posting for me, I want to make sure that I'm posting about products and different things that I've been having people post about. So that way, when I've added all those people that I'm talking to and having conversations, I know that they're seeing. Because a lot of times the customers that aren't necessarily signing from a host of posts. Yes, some of them are. But again, some of them, it might be days later because they saw another post that reminded them, oh yeah, that's the thing that she's been talking to me about. So you don't want to just have something one and done and think that that's the only thing that you need to post and have people posting. You want to actually represent it on your page too. So make sure that you're consistent with your posting. And again, figuring out those times. So if I was working full time back in the day, I would do like morning, lunch, and evening time. So morning typically was like motivational quote or some type of, if I wanted to talk about a product. Lunchtime, sometimes I was talking about the opportunity or maybe a product that I was using during the day, before and after. And then the evening was always save my best post for last. So if you need something kind of along those lines, maybe you have something for that day that you really want to share and you've been able to accomplish something. A lot of people are on their phones right now, even posting something like it's almost 9 p.m. For me. And so, posting things right now, it's crazy sometimes what interaction you can get. And sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, but if I posted at 3 p.m., I wouldn't get the same interaction. So you have to learn to be strategic, but again, keep that consistency piece. A lot of times Facebook, Instagram, all that, if you're not posting consistently, they're not going to give you a consistent audience that's going to follow your stuff. Okay. And so just because you've done one and done doesn't mean that you're going to get people interacting. If you're going and you're posting and you have a lot of other fluff in between, if you've shared posts or you've posted 50 million things, Facebook's going to see that and they're not going to give you the same hype and interaction because they're not going to give you attention to all 50 posts or different things that you have on your page. Or if you've posted only once a week, you're not going to get the same interaction that somebody's posting consistently. So figure out that consistent routine, that you can provide for like your business and what works for you and your schedule. Cause I know every single day can be crazy. But make sure that you're at least posting and being, consistent with that. I even set reminders in my phone because again, I'm busy. Got a lot of things going on. A lot of times we're in the car shuffling kids to and from practice and different things. But if I have an alert, because again, I don't like notifications, if I have an alert that goes off and I've already planned what my post is going to be for that evening, it takes 2 seconds to copy and paste it with that. Now, the other thing that I will add as far as host to post is we know that Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they're all giving a lot of hype to video content. And so that's a great way too. If maybe you're a little nervous to make a reel, maybe you're a little nervous to, do a video of some sort, this is a great time to take one of those interaction posts and make that your text. Okay. You don't even have to think, like you can literally copy and paste, put it on there, put that engagement. Hey, you've got to go to Facebook. You've got to go to Instagram, message this keyword, giveaway, entry, whatever it is. So that way they know that they can interact with you. And then that's another great way that you can, be messaging people for the host post giveaways and different things. Because again, if you go to any platform, that's what's getting the most interaction. And we see that, especially with Instagram really shifting to more videos and putting that out there. If you guys go and scroll, so utilize that to your benefit too. Not everything. Yes, obviously you can even do like the fun dances and stuff like that, but it's, if you want to put one of those up there, that's going to be the huge thing. So that's really all I have for tonight. Host post is very simple. Organization is simple. And the thing is, most of it is just going to be really what works best for you, and figuring out that method. And so I would say, if you feel like a hodgepodge and you've got 50 million notebooks, or you're like, I have notes everywhere, different things, or I can't keep track of my potential customers, you really need to sit down tonight and figure out, okay, how does my brain work and what's going to be the most effective way. Like I said, I like to keep a physical list at my desk because I know when I come in my office, this is my devoted focus time to following up with potentials, or I'm going back through my host post list. And so I know that that's what works for me. So every single night before I go to bed, again, I go through those messages and I write down the names of people that have hosted a post, but then I'm also going through list of conversations that I've had. So that way now I have a running list and I can boom, 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 boom. I can go through, because a lot of times it's easy. And especially if you're, working full time, or you can get distracted with the chaos and crazy of life. It's really easy to forget people in the mix. So I like to just have that list where it's like, I can just search their name, put a message real quick, send it. That's what I would do when I was working full time, is I would create a list of like 10 people at a time and just do little chunks of messages where I could just send a quick follow-up, but I already knew who I was going to message. So that task took little to no time, right? So if you already have that kind of consistent list, and again, some people like to do like spreadsheets, or you have, things in your notes, and that's totally fine. You just figure out what works for you and your brain. But I don't see any questions. Again, this is pretty like simple, standard information. The last thing that I will leave you with is just, like I said, I would encourage you, because I do know that we are working on putting some more host to post push chats together. Get involved in one. Put yourself out there a little bit. I know it's going to be hard work. I know it's going to be like, sometimes you just want to pull your hair out and be like, oh my gosh, like I cannot get somebody to post for me. I promise it will happen. I thought the same thing. I was just like, oh my God, I'm gonna stress myself out, really committing. But it's like, if I commit, I've got to do it. And so like, it might be a little crazy, but it's so worth it just to see the results and how many people that you're talking to and how many customers can come from that. And when you look back and you compare versus like thinking that I did host a post before, it's crazy. And so just, again, I would encourage you to get involved in one of those, and figure that out. Now, I did see one question. Is it okay to send that post after messaging them instead of thank you message first? I'm not sure if I know what that one means. I'm just straightforward, and I just message everybody. Like if you've commented on something or you're interacting on something, you're getting a message. There's just not a lot of time for fluff. And so I'm assuming maybe that's what that means. But if I didn't clarify that, send the post, like the host post, I'm guessing. First. So if they've commented, I would ask them, hey, are you willing to put up a post for me? Sending like, thanks so much, something of that nature. But then if they say yes, I would send them the post and then keep following up until they've gotten that post up. I hope that that's it. But Susan, if not, you can go ahead and message me privately. And then we can make sure that we get that cleared up. But thank you guys so much. Stay tuned for next week, because we're going to be covering another amazing topic and different things like that. Okay, one last question. How do you make a post on Instagram and TikTok? I think Brittany covered social media really well last week, as far as like posting and content, as far as reels and stuff. So I maybe go back and watch that one. But if you do need more clarification, feel free to reach out, because we really want to keep this training specific to host post, but I'm happy to answer. And the enroller, yeah, obviously can help with like a first post, first content, but definitely utilize reels and video content to your benefit, because that's really what's getting the most interaction. So y'all have a great night, and we will see you next week. Bye, y'all.